वासांसि जीर्णानि यथा विहाय नवानि गृह्णाति नरोपराणि तथा शरीराणि विहाय जीर्णा नन्यानि संज्ञाति नवानि देहि.
As man discards old clothing for new, so does the soul discard the worn-out body for a new one.
नैनं छिन्दन्ति शस्त्राणि.
The soul cannot be pierced by weapons, nor burnt by fire. Water cannot wet it, nor the wind dry it.
I am the banyan tree, standing here as a witness to the eternal words that were expounded by Krishna at the outset of the battle of Mahabharata at Kurukshetra. I've seen all that happened on this land, and I've heard the celestial message that was told to Arjuna to wipe out all his ignorance, enabling him to enter the world of knowledge, wisdom, and enlightenment. The world in which an individual neither discriminates nor favors anything, as it is the world of equanimity. The individual has triumphed over the senses, pleasures, and death. Such is the state of mind that can be acquired through the essence of Gita.
Trees in India, especially banyan and peepal, have a special meaning, not merely for their medicinal or environmental value, but also for their inextricable association with the concept of enlightenment. Lord Buddha, or Tathagat, had attained his enlightenment under a peepal tree at Gaya in Bihar. Besides, in the Ajanta murals, 6 different trees are shown with 6 different Buddhas. Likewise, according to a local tradition, a banyan tree at Jyotisar in Kurukshetra is believed to be associated with the enlightenment of Arjuna, the hero of the Mahabharata. Krishna, at the outset of the battle, delivered the sermon known as Bhagavad Gita to a dejected Arjuna who had renounced war against his own kith and kin.
Krishna, I feel a dreadful weakness creeping over me. My body trembles, my head is reeling, my mouth is dry and I feel faint. My limbs burn as if with fever, and my bow Gandiv slips from my hands. Krishna, though the Kauravas are evil, I would not want to slay them, not even to become ruler of the 3 worlds. Here, I put down my weapons. It is better to be killed unarmed than to fight.
Such faint-heartedness is not fitting for a warrior. Arise with a brave heart and fight.
I am confused. My will is paralyzed by a sorrow which exhausts my spirit.
The wise grieve neither for the living nor the dead. Arjuna, you, I, and all those assembled before you have always been and always will be. Only the body can be destroyed. The soul is eternal. As man discards old clothing for new, so does the soul discard the worn-out body for a new one.
The Bhagavad Gita is the culmination of the perennial wisdom of living profoundly, realistically, and practically in all times and climes. Coming down from the ideal man, Sri Krishna, it is addressed to the possible crises encountered by man and advocates a triune path toward individual as well as collective emancipation, material and spiritual, secular and sacred.
I've seen the Lord's manifestation of the cosmos or the Vishwarupa. The cosmic man is the symbol of universal order, Reet, in its unending cyclic rhythm of creation, destruction, comprising time, space, the praharas or phases of day, together constitute the state of man and his consciousness.
The basis of Vishwarupa vision is the concept of Prajapati and Purusha. The anthropomorphic manifestation of Purusha and Vishwarupa are conceived by mind having incorporated the elements of nature. The genesis of universal man or Purusha has been explained in the Purusha Shukta of Rig Veda. According to Brahmanical religion, the divine is both immanent and transcendent as narrated in Rig Veda. According to the Bhagavad Gita, Vishwarupa or the Virat Rupa or the cosmic form is the manifestation of Krishna's wisdom, glory, energy, strength, valor and effulgence. Arjun, after hearing the detailed account of the evolution and dissolution of beings and immortal glory from Lord Krishna in the 10th chapter, asks him to reveal to him the imperishable form that is called the Virat Rupa, which he describes in the 10th chapter of Gita. In his Virat Rupa, Krishna manifests within himself the Adityas, the Vasus, Rudras, Ashwinis, the Marutas, and many others, which Arjun had never seen or heard before. In this cosmic form, the entire creation consisting of both animate and inanimate beings are amalgamated. This is God's multifarious divine form of various colors and shapes.
Wherever you find strength, beauty, or spirituality, know, Arjun, that these have sprung from a spark of my essence. I support the cosmos with just a fraction of my being.
पश्य मे पार्थ रूपाणि शतशो सहस्रशः नानाविधानि दिव्यानि नानावर्णाकृतीनि च.
Behold, Arjun, a million divine forms with an infinite variety of color and shape. Behold the gods and many wonders never revealed before. Behold the entire cosmos turning within me, and whatever it is that you wish to see.
Bhagavad Gita originally is a part of the Bhishma book of Mahabharata. If the Mahabharata is the body, then the soul is Bhagavad Gita. In our Indian tradition, we believe in Purushartha, and the practical examples of Purushartha are narrated through the episodes and stories of the Mahabharata. The epic Mahabharata has been revered all over the country and abroad for its philosophical, moral, and cultural values. In fact, the epic has been so inextricably interwoven with our socio-religious life that it can hardly be separated from the fabric of Indian culture. Even though the Mahabharata is popularly identified with the Battle of Kurukshetra, yet as a literary text, its relevance has always been adored for being a treasure house of myriad art forms associated with the cardinal episode narrated in the 18 books or Parvas.
I am Vedavyas, son of the great sage Parashar, progenitor of the Kauravas and Pandavas, chronicler of the Mahabharata. Much have I witnessed. The heights to which the descendants of Kuru could aspire, and the depths to which they could descend. It was here, on the hallowed plains of Kurukshetra, the cradle of life, the fountainhead of sanctity, that they fought a terrible war, in which the very virtues which sustain humanity were put to the severest ordeal. It was a battle which even Lord Krishna could not avert.
The Bhagavad Gita has been immortalized in the sacred ambience of a small village named Jyotisar, one of the most revered holy places of Kurukshetra. In fact, the word Jyotisar constitutes of two words, that is, Jyoti, meaning light, and Sar, meaning tank. Thus, it symbolically signifies the sacred tank of enlightenment. Tradition says, here stands a banyan tree, which may be an offshoot of the original banyan tree under which Krishna delivered the Bhagavad Gita on the eve of battle. Whether or not the Gita was delivered under the banyan tree at Jyotisar, millions come here to pay their obeisance to the song celestial and song eternal Gita. Outlining the significance of Jyotisar, the Managing Director, Haryana Tourism, Navraj Sandhu says,
this is a very, very important historical site because this is the place where Lord Krishna gave sermon to Arjun. And to commemorate this, we have launched the light and sound show there. The main theme of this show is the Gita Upadesh. And this is done on the tree and narrating the whole Mahabharata, but basically focusing on the Upadesh and Gita.
On the development work that has taken place at and around Jyotisar, Senior Vice President, India Tourism Development Corporation, ITDC, Chandani Luthra says,
today Jyotisar is an absolutely new place. The road is beautiful. And as you enter Kurukshetra, there is an information center from where you can get information on Jyotisar and other areas of interest in Kurukshetra. There are signages everywhere, even on the highway that goes from Delhi to Chandigarh. And when you get to Jyotisar, it's well lit. There is good parking. A lot of landscaping has been done. The pond is cleaned. I mean, we in fact have some lights under the water for our sound and light show. And of course, we now have the sound and light show, which is again very, very popular. We are also constructing in the middle of making a rath, a really big rath, which will replace the small one that there is. And very eminent architect and designer Ram Sutar is working on it, and the whole process will take another year. But after this, the rath will be ready. I think the whole place has a very different look.
Since time immemorial, Gita has been revered as the most sacred and the ultimate treasure of Indian philosophical and religious treatise. The site Jyotisar is represented by a beautiful marble chariot depicting Krishna delivering the immortal Gita to Arjun, canopied by a banyan tree which stands as an eternal witness to the historical event. In recent times, a sound and light show on the theme of Bhagavad Gita in the light of Mahabharata has been mounted by the India Tourism Development Corporation, ITDC, as a part of the tourism promotion in Kurukshetra. The show enlivens the story of Mahabharata through powerful dialogues and hymns from the Bhagavad Gita. An ambience of the battle is recreated in the secluded environment of Jyotisar.
Abhimanyu has broken through our view.
But look, the Pandav warriors have been prevented from following him. The Kaurav ally, Jayadratha, king of the Sindhus.
Abhimanyu is fighting like a demon.
Describing the efforts that went into putting up the Gita-inspired Jyotisar Sound and Light Show, Senior Vice President ITDC Chandani Luthra recounts.
The essence of the Gita is Nishkam Karma, that you must work without rewards, you must do your duty. And we thought that how do we get this message across not only to our foreign tourists, but also to our Indian tourists, to our students, and really the common man. And so we devised this plan to have a sound and light show on Gita for the modern man, to make it accessible to everybody, not even those who haven't read the Bhagavad Gita, even those who don't quote from it, but who know that this is the essence. You know, basically the essence is something which has come down through the ages. It's not that the fundamental values have changed. They have not changed. So we thought we would do the Sound and Light show, and it would also have the double purpose of attracting people to Jyotisar, more and more people. Also, Jyotisar and Kurukshetra would become a tourist destination because people would spend the night. You know, once they saw the show, they might be tempted to spend the night, and tourism would grow. So that is how this show was conceived. And it was produced in a record time of 7 months. I mean, usually a show takes anything between a year and a half to produce. And we worked really hard on it, and we've had tremendous response from this show. Well, it was produced by India Tourism Development Corporation, and I conceptualized the thing along with our client, which is the Ministry of Tourism, for whom we did this, and the Ministry of Culture, which were together at that point of time. The script was written by a famous, very famous scriptwriter, Manohar Shyam Joshi, whom you must have heard of. The music was by Sharang Dev, and we have a lighting designer called Gautam Bhattacharya who's done the lighting. We've got some very famous voices in the show. The show is in English and Hindi. It's a very emotional show, and I think anybody who sees this show really gets the feel of life and really comes out of the show feeling that yes, he must follow the path of the Gita, he must follow the path of Nishkam Karma. We have, of course, made sure that it's like a story. So, you know, it's not boring, and a child of 10 can understand it as well as a person who's 80 years old and enjoy it. And we had a really difficult task because there was no monument. You see, usually when you do sound and light shows, you have monuments and you can focus on the Diwan-e-Aam or the Diwan-e-Khas or the palace or the, you know, the beautiful carvings. Here we just had a tree and we had this pond that we had to work on and nothing else. So we wondered how we were going to do this show. And I would advise everybody to go and see the show to see how we've managed to get the lighting effects, making it so strong and so effective that when Lord Krishna, you know, he reveals his Virat Roop to Arjun, it's a time when everybody's hair stands up on end.
Are the show tickets expensive?
Not at all. The tickets are, I think, 15 rupees. Haryana Tourism has ticketed the show. And it's a very, very minimal ticket. I mean, as you know, the tickets for movies these days are 150 rupees. So for a sound and light show, I think 15 rupees is very low. And a lot of people have seen it while it was also, you know, we were doing trial runs and we had the whole village coming in, you know, from all sides the villagers came in and they saw it again and again because it's so beautiful.
यदा सत्यं यदो धर्मो धीरार्जयतः ततो भवति गोविन्दो यदा
Where there is truth, where there is righteousness, integrity and reverence, there resides Lord Krishna. And where there is Lord Krishna, there is victory.
Just imagine, a droplet from the ocean of Gita should be so inspiring, then what to speak of the original Gita that is embodied with all knowledge and wisdom. It helps untwining the mysteries of the world and the meaning of life. As Aldous Huxley put it,
quote, "The Gita is one of the clearest and most comprehensive summaries of the perennial philosophy ever to have been made. Hence its enduring value not only for Indians, but for all mankind. The Bhagavad Gita is perhaps the most systematic spiritual statement of the perennial philosophy." Unquote.
As Professor Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan put it,
quote, "Its message of deliverance is simple. The Gita teaches a method which is within the reach of all, that of bhakti or devotion to God. The poet makes the teacher the very God descended into humanity. He is supposed to address Arjun, the representative man, at a time of a great crisis in his life, typifying the struggling individual who feels the burden and the mystery of the world. The life of the soul is symbolized by the battlefield of Kurukshetra, and the Kauravas are the enemies who impede the progress of the soul. As the dialogue proceeds, the dramatic element disappears. The echoes of the battlefield die away, and we only have an interview between God and man. The chariot of war becomes the lonely cell of meditation, and a corner of the battlefield where the voices of the world are stilled, a fit place for thoughts on the Supreme." Unquote.
As Jawaharlal Nehru put it,
quote, "Because modern India is full of frustration and has suffered from too much quietism, this call to action makes a special appeal. It is also possible to interpret that action in modern terms as action for social betterment and social service, practical, altruistic, patriotic, and humanitarian. Such action is desirable according to Gita, but behind it must lie the spiritual ideal. And action must be in the spirit of detachment, not much concerned with results. The law of cause and effect holds good under all circumstances. Right action must therefore necessarily yield right results, though these might not be immediately apparent." Unquote.
Remember, Arjun, you have the right to act, but never to the fruit of your actions. You should never act with thought of reward, nor should you long for inaction. Seek refuge in detachment, in success and in defeat. Act always with a balanced mind. This is Nishkam Karma Yoga.
The celestial song does not negate or contradict any established religion in its undiluted form. It rather fulfills and replenishes with a view to realizing the highest good. In the present context, the message of the Bhagavad Gita might be understood and adopted to mitigate against and eradicate the destructive forces such as religious racism, casteism, nuclear warfare, environmental catastrophes, superstitions and their fallout and so on. Hence, the highest esteem is accorded to the work by generations of men of the highest intellect, as well as those with the most mundane outlook on life.
परित्राणाय साधूनां विनाशाय च दुष्कृतां धर्म संस्थापनार्थाय संभवामि युगे युगे.
Symbolically, Arjun is a state of human mind, which could be anybody's mind. Kurukshetra war is a given situation, and the dilemma of to be or not to be is encountered by all men and women at the hour of crisis. And the Bhagavad Gita is the ultimate solution to successfully overcoming the crisis. Kurukshetra in Haryana has also the great privilege of celebrating a festival called Kurukshetra Utsav every year. The event is celebrated elsewhere in India as Moksha Ekadashi, which falls on the 11th day of the bright moon fortnight in the month of Margshish, that is November to December, which according to the English calendar falls this year on the 22nd of December 2004. The month of December, therefore, has always been considered a befitting occasion in the sacred land of Kurukshetra to remember the song celestial Bhagavad Gita. This is to bring about a moral and cultural resurgence among the people through the ideas and ideals encompassed in this universal text.
I am the banyan tree, standing here as a witness to the eternal words and their message. From times immemorial, Gita has been preaching that life is a difficult journey. Set aside all desires, offer Him your body and mind. Whosoever follows the karma path shall be able to lead an ideal life. Dharma will be with him, and he shall attain enlightenment. Whosoever works without desire for reward, he is victorious. From times immemorial, Gita has been preaching that life is a difficult journey.
Yatra Yogeshwara Krishno Yatra Partho Dhanurdhara Tatra